Hello and welcome to another Advanced Skeleton video. In this video, we are going to take a closer look at the embedded picker, and we will be covering what is it, when to use it, and how to create it. So let's start out. What is it? The embedded picker works much like the normal picker that comes with Advanced Skeleton, which is a user interface that allows you to select and control a character rig. However, the embedded part tells us that it's built into the Maya file itself. So let's go ahead and open a version of TuneUp that has an embedded picker, and you will see that as soon as we open the file, the interface pops open. And that's because in this file, the picker has been embedded. It has been built into the Maya file. Indication of this is on the title of the window. You'll see in parentheses it says that this is an embedded picker. Now the embedded picker means this whole tool interface and its functionalities is fully built into the Maya file. If you wanted to distribute this to another party, say you want to sell your rig on a online asset store, or you contracted to create a rig for a client and you wish to provide them with a picker, all you will be providing is one single Maya file, and they will get this included. Now for the people that receive it, to open the interface, it will open automatically when you open the scene. If you do close it, to bring it back open, the process is quite simple. You select the top node of the character called main, and there is an attribute called picker. Changing the value of this attribute will bring up the picker interface. And then for actually using the picker, it's quite easy. As long as the selection checkbox is on, it works such that anything you click and select in this interface selects the corresponding controller. And it has some useful basic functionalities, such as it's fully scalable, and you can dock it into other UI elements. And it works with click drag for selection of multiple controllers. It also works the other way, so that if you select a controller itself, it will highlight in the interface that this is selected. Alright, that covers what is it. Next, when to use it. And yes, as I briefly mentioned, it can be useful if you, for example, wish to list your character rig on a online asset store, and you want to provide a interface, but you want to keep it as simple as possible. So instead of providing an additional set of scripts and instructions how to use the script, you're simply providing the one Maya file, which is the rig. Likewise, as a rigging freelancer providing a rigging service, it can be quite useful to keeping it simple, having the one and only file being the rig and the picker included. Now I should also mention when it's not recommended to use the embedded picker, and that is if you are a regular user of Advanced Skeleton, you're making rigs that you'll be using yourself, then you already have instant access to the normal picker that comes with Advanced Skeleton, and it's better to keep using that instead of embedding a picker into each and every one of your characters. Likewise, if you're working in a controlled studio environment, you're better off distributing the standard picker instead of embedding it into every character file. And by the way, if you're wondering how that's done, that's fairly easy. In the Advanced Skeleton folder, there are folders for the picker and the selector, and all you got to do to distribute this to any other computer is to simply drag and drop the installed MEL file into any Maya session, and it will create the picker on the shelf. Alright, that covers when to use it. Next, how do we create it? So how do we make this thing? Well, first we'll start off with a fresh new scene, and I will open a standard version of our demo character that does not have an embedded picker, and we'll see how we're gonna make a custom picker for this character and embed it into the Maya file. So first thing we'll do, we'll open the standard Advanced Skeleton picker tool. And we can see that the standard picker that's not embedded. It's a little bit different. It does not say in the title of the window that it's embedded. Also, we have by default 2 tabs with load buttons, and you can load them when you need them by hitting the load button. So at this point, we have a standard character rig, and it's using an external tool, the Advanced Skeleton Picker. Now let's go ahead and customize this a bit so we can cover how that works too. So there's one function I like to run straight away. It's colors from geometry, which will sample the colors of our actual character rig and apply those colors to the buttons to match. Now if you want to customize other things here, you can remember that these buttons are actual objects. Now when the selection checkbox is on, anything you select of buttons here instantly converts into the selection on the actual rig. But if you turn that selection checkbox off, you are now actually selecting these button objects. So if we want to do any customizing of this interface, we can do that with the selection checkbox off. For example, if we wanted to make the finger controllers here much bigger, we would just select these, and we can go ahead and just scale them up. Or another thing you might want to do, you might want to add a button. So let's say this character was carrying a gun, which by the way, we can quickly add a gun to the character rig, which is done by Toggle Fit Advanced. That shows us the fit skeleton. We create a gun attached to the hand, so we'll just use the joint tool. The way the joint tool works is the parent will be the first joint you click on, so we'll just click on hand. It turns green to show this is the parent. And we'll just create a gun, so it's just one extra joint here. And anytime we create a extra controller, we need a end joint to determine the direction, so the gun will be pointing this direction. We hit enter to complete that. We'll now have a new joint here. We'll call it gun. By default, when that builds, that's going to build on left and right side, but we only want it here on the right side, so we'll add the label says no mirror. And we'll hit rebuild Advanced Skeleton. And we got a new controller here called gun, actually called fkgun_r. So let's add a button that selects this. Now, an easy way to do that is you just select any of the existing buttons here, and we'll take note of the name. The name is same name as the controller. It's just got these extra bits in the front, which is the namespace for the picker. So I'll just select the head controllers. Hit Control D for duplicate. We now have a copy of that. I'll just put it over here. Now you'll notice that then automatically the namespace gets removed when you duplicate objects. That's just how Maya works. So we'll go back to this head controller. We'll copy the name and we'll use that name so we have that namespace. But instead of calling fkhead_m, this will be fkgun_r. Now when we turn selection on, we'll see that clicking that button does indeed select the gun controller. And the other way around, if I select the gun controller itself, the button turns green to show it's selected. Now if you want to change the color of the button, you just right click and say paint, mesh, RGB. Give it a color. Let's go with a red color. Actually we're using red for IK, so orange, that'll be fine. Now if you wanted to get even more fancy with it, remember that these are just polygon objects, so you can go ahead and use poly tools to edit this. So I'll do smooth subdividing it, that'll give it some more points. And then we can basically sculpt it, so we might want to do something like that. We can make it look a little bit more like a gun by doing this. There we go, there's a gun. Actually, I might want to get it a little bit bigger, and I'll move it up here. Alright, we have a customized interface with custom colors and an added gun controller. Now time to bake this into the Maya file. And the way to do it is in the display menu. We run the function called embed picker. We get a confirmation here that says embedding the picker into the Maya file. That means the user can access the picker by just turning on the attribute on the main controller called the picker. Yes, that's what we want. The process takes a second and it reopens the interface. And we can see in the interface now, in the title, it says in parentheses here, it's embedded. And if we were to close the picker, it can be reopened at any time by modifying the picker attribute on the main controller. And if we save this out as a separate file, it will be a rig file with the embedded picker. Now, if you're wondering where the actual code is saved within the Maya file, you can take a look under the animation editor, expression editor. If you open this and make sure the filter is set to script node, you will see that a Advanced Skeleton rig with an embedded picker will have a script node called Advanced Skeleton Picker, and the code is actually stored in there. Another thing I want to quickly mention about the picker is that, as we have seen, these button objects are actual objects in the scene, and by default you might also see them in the various other viewports. As here we can zoom in and see these buttons. This is probably not what you want, so to make sure that these buttons are only showing in this window, then we want to run the isolate picker function. That will make sure that these picker objects are only shown in this panel and none of the others. Now, one more thing, if you have a scene with a embedded picker, then the interface has an additional function under the file menu, and that is check for update. Now, this allows any pickers built into any rigs to be able to go and get updates from the Advanced Skeleton website. Now, there might be new functions or fixes rolled out to Advanced Skeleton. Now, within the standard Advanced Skeleton interface, these are all possible to get with the check for updates and auto download function. However, if you are an animator, you've received one of these rigs with an embedded picker, then you don't have the Advanced Skeleton interface, you just have the picker. And if you have been notified that there are new functionalities added, because there are a bunch of functionalities that comes with the picker, such as post mirroring, animation, copy pasting, we can IK switching, quick IKs, switch pivots, it even has options to load motion capture libraries, connect to iPhone AR kits, etc. Now there might be additional new function rolled out and you want to get the update, and now that's possible with the check for update function. Now that brings up the update window. In this windows, firstly it tells you what is your current version that you're running, in this case 5.864. Next, it has a button to go ahead and open the web page. Now we'll hit that button. In this case, we'll see that opens the code directly in here, which we need to copy and paste. Now before we move on, I'll just show you that there is a possibility, if you're using an older version of Maya, that Maya still has its preference set to Open Internet Explorer. If that's the case, it'll probably open a page that looks a bit messy like this. If that's the case, there is a button here that will change your registry settings to modify the preference for Maya to refer to web pages using Chrome instead of Internet Explorer. So if the open web page button opens something that looks like this, you might want to hit that button to change it to Chrome and then run the function again, and it should come back looking like this. So what we want to do here, we want to copy this code. On your keyboard, hit the shortcuts for select all and then the shortcut for copy. Go back into Maya, and under here where it says paste the code here, click and hit paste. Then we hit the update button and voila. It has downloaded the latest code with the latest functionalities to the picker, and it has a little line at the bottom here that says you updated the picker and which versions you updated from and to. If you want more information about all these functions that are available inside of the picker, then I suggest you go check out the separate video that is just covering that topic. That's going to be on our YouTube channel, and under the list of videos there is one here called Demonstration 35, the Picker Tool. And this video goes through all the functionalities that are provided along with the Picker Tool. Alright, that's covered what it is, when to use it, how to create it. I hope you found this video to be helpful, and I'll see you next time.